Hey guys, welcome to Big Oz Official. I am Uncle Oz, this is Liz, and you guys are watching the unofficial after-show show for Britain's Strongest Man 2020.
So this competition actually took place way back in January the 18th back in Sheffield, and I think it was the last big live show of the year before everything went a bit crazy.
Certainly the last big one in the UK for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And, kind of watching it tonight, looking back when the world was a little more normal.
Nostalgia.
I know.
Seeing people together.
Seeing Paddy McGuinness, sat next to Paddy, I was his son.
Your dad. Yeah, that was a weird cameo.
But it was kind of strange looking back. I mean, it's funny with the way these shows are put out at Christmas time. The timeline of Strongman throughout the year is always a bit of a strange one. Obviously, this year there's going to be less of the shows on TV, so we've only got this Britain's Strongest Man, and then Europe's is split into two shows, and then we're straight into Worlds this year. But yeah, we're going back to January, and this was always a battle between the Stoltman brothers and Adam Bishop. That was, with Hicksy was the reigning champion, so we should probably point that out first. But Hicksy at this time had just done Big Dogs over in Australia. He'd done a huge total in powerlifting. He was having a little bit of time off from the strongman side of things, so we were guaranteed a new champion. And these three guys had all got to the final of World's Strongest Man last year. So it was a great lineup. I'll let Liz go through the athletes, but it was always about these three men.
Yeah. So the lineup was Terry Hollands from England, Mark Felix from England, Paul Smith from England, John Pollock from Scotland, Mark Steele from England, Ryan England from England, and Ben Brunning from Wales, Pa O'Dwyer from Ireland, Aaron Page from England, Luke Richardson from England, Luke Stoltman from Scotland, Tom Stoltman from Scotland, and finally Adam Bishop from England.
So great mixture of athletes, some talented new athletes, some kind of old guard there as well, and a good mixture of events. Starting off with the log medley, and this is a tough event. You're starting with 120 kilo log, and then I think it went to 140, then 160, 170 kilo log, and then finally a 180 kilo log. So 5 logs, pretty tough event. Actually, I believe pretty similar to the weights they used at Worlds this year.
Yeah.
So, World's Strongest Man level, British, which is not unusual these days. The standard in England is so high. And Aaron Page putting in a brilliant performance on this. I want to say, Aaron, very dear friend of mine, unfortunately passed away last month, and it was actually his funeral today. So the fact that he's on TV tonight, it's kind of it's a strange one. It's been an emotional day. We were watching his funeral earlier, and he was such a character, wasn't he? He was so full of life, such an incredible log lifter. Yeah. That's kind of like his favourite event, and I think the fact that he was at Britain's performing so well, he actually ended up coming second on the log, I believe.
He did, second to Luke Stoltman.
Yeah, so to be picked just by Luke, who, for all kind of purposes, is possibly the best in the world on log at the moment.
Yeah.
His performances this year.
One of, isn't he?
He's definitely one of. But maybe Hicksy and him. To have 3 guys from the UK that were all so good at log this year, all 3 of them have held the British log record this year, which is absolutely nuts to think about. And it's been emotional watching Aaron, but I do know that the Giants Live team have a tribute for Aaron in some of the up and coming shows. But the way that things are scheduled.
And how early they're edited as well. It's a tough one. So we didn't get to see much about them.
So I would have obviously liked to see. I'd like to sit there and watch all the guys compete. Obviously, we were there live, so we saw what happened. But when they put together the edited shows, it's about telling the story of the battle for the title.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, some of the guys didn't get as much airtime. It came down to, as it does in every show when you watch Strongman on TV, World's Strongest Man, these shows, it's going to come down to who's battling for the title at the end.
And I think, like most of us, fans, athletes, everyone, that's the one thing we'd really like to see improved. And it's not, I don't feel at this point that it's anyone's fault if Giants Live are only given 40 odd minutes to work with. It's very hard to make a show, to show enough of the content, but also to create that story, to take the audience along with you.
Yeah.
I mean, as sort of super fans, if you like, of the sport, we would sit there and just watch the guys lift and have none of the filler stuff. But for the wider audience, you absolutely need that.
It still needs to be an entertaining show at the end of the day, and you need things going on. You need, like you say, the backstories of athletes. You need to understand the battles between, from the year before. Who you got where people placed the year before. You see them progressing each year, and it's one of those things. It's never ideal, but with essentially a 42-minute show, with adverts in, there's not a huge amount of time then to show every single athlete. So.
Especially when you consider these competitions take about 4 or 5 hours, so to cram it into such a small amount of time is really difficult. And I think 90 minutes for a show like this would be great. I think
if we can increase the time, I'd love to see that. To see longer strongman shows, obviously, I'd love to see that. But at the moment, the time restriction is what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, to the first event, the log lift. Luke Stoltman just pipping the win. It was only those 2 athletes that managed to do all 5.
Yeah.
Ben Brunning. I mean, it feels so long ago since we were talking about Ben, because Ben was flying up. For those that haven't seen too much of Ben placed second in the Giants Live World Tour final in Manchester at the end of last year.
Yeah.
He was just progressing and beat Alexei Novikov.
Yeah.
Let's remember the calibre of athletes that were there.
Yeah.
He was getting better and better. Unfortunately, leading up to the Britons, he suffered a back injury.
Yeah.
And he just wasn't recovering. His log went well, but then he was just suffering. And since then he's been been pretty quiet.
Yeah. He had to withdraw from Worlds as well because he was legitimately qualified as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
That Giants Live
show. I hope Ben is recovering well, but unfortunately not the performance he wanted. But he did start well, taking 3rd place on the log. And Ryan England, my buddy, taking 4th place on log. So,
any surprises for you on the log lift?
No real surprises. I think the log is one of those events that you get a lot of guys, like a Ryan England, for instance, that maybe isn't going to be there to battle to win the title, but is very, very good, beating the likes of a Tom Stoltman, a Bishop, a Terry Hollands, a Felix, the guys that you sort of genuinely talk about. Yeah. And this is the interesting thing when you watch the shows like Britain's, or any of the national titles. There's guys out there that are exceptionally good at 1 or 2 events. But it comes down to the athletes that are the best all round that are going to battle for those titles at the end of the day, and that's what we see in these type of shows. You see the real elite guys have that consistency across 5 or 6 or 10, whatever it might be, events. Yeah. But first event, perfect start for Luke Stoltman, exactly what he wanted. Bish probably not the start he wanted, but he was smart. He did 3 in a fast time. Okay. He's such a tactical athlete, Bish is. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows what events are good for him, what events aren't so good, where he needs to, place on certain events. Yeah. And he looked, for the whole of this competition, I think he looked pretty
He knew what
chill.
Was coming as well. That was always probably going to be the hardest event for Adam in that lineup.
Without question.
But with the events coming, as long as he got a solid mid-pack, then he probably knew he was going to be okay.
Yeah, I mean, Felix actually came last on the log.
Bless him.
But Felix, again, is someone who suffered with shoulder injuries. His pressing has never been I'm not going to make excuses for him. His pressing has never been his strongest. But he's one of those, he sort of does damage control on the pressing.
Yeah.
Then he's got some events he's very dangerous at.
Yeah.
And the one thing I will say if you're an athlete watching this, having weapons is important. And I say this a lot, and I know you look at me funny. But if you have events you can beat anyone at.
Yeah, of course.
It makes you dangerous, it makes you get invites.
You see that with the likes of Tom Stoltman, don't you? With the Atlas Stone, with a loading race, events like that. You always know, I've probably got 20 points just in those 2 events.
How many years, I mean, you've been watching Strongman for a long time. The amount of time I've been involved in Strongman, I've been doing this 17 years almost now.
Jesus, Grandpa.
I know. Mark Felix has always been known for 2 things: his deadlifting and his grip.
Yeah.
And his age.
His age, yeah.
But when you've got some of those events where you can consistently perform well at, it certainly does you favours.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so event number 2 was the axle deadlift, 330 kilos.
Yes.
So 330 kilos axle deadlift. Just few little subtle changes with an axle deadlift. It's a little bit harder than a standard bar. The axle doesn't flex at all. So you basically pull in from slightly in front of you and slightly lower than a normal deadlift, just due to the thickness of the bar. And obviously, because there's no whip in the bar, you just get that whole thing straight into your hands. You need to be powerful off the floor, and then obviously strong through the whole lift to lock out. We have a number of awesome deadlifters in the UK right now. We've always got the likes of Felix. Everyone knows how good a deadlifter he is. Terry Holland's one of the best deadlifters all time in his prime. But the younger generation now, these guys are just stepping it up. Tom Stoltman, his deadlift has just skyrocketed over the last year.
Yeah, he's sort of quietly as well, hasn't it? Like, we all know, obviously.
Yeah, people don't talk about him with his deadlifting so much because he's such a good stone lifter and he's kind of well known for other things.
Yeah.
But definitely improving.
Deadlift's right up there now.
It is. And the other guy to really look at, Luke Richardson. This guy is a 400 kilo. He's pulled 400 kilos in an IPF powerlifting competition. Junior world champion. He is absolutely...
And that is so much harder. Like, 400 kilos is 400 kilos, but the strict rules, they, especially the IPF as well, in powerlifting, not even just the equipment, the lack of equipment, it's how fluid and smooth the motion has to be for a powerlifting deadlift to pass.
Yeah, well,
no hitching.
I think if you're just used to strongman, it's basically get it from A to B.
Yeah.
So get it from A to B, whatever means we're allowed the wrist straps. That changes the mechanics slightly of the pull. But to pull 400 kilos in a powerlifting competition, there's still only a small percentage of people that have done that. There's a lot more people pulling 400 kilos now in the gym or in a strongman competition. But to pull 400 legitimately and pass it in powerlifting still is a very, very impressive feat of strength.
Junior as well.
Unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. And to think this is only his third competition.
Yeah, he's really not done many at all. He did the OSG World Championships. He did a comp before that. I think that's it. So yeah, his third ever strongman contest, and he's challenging for Britain's Strongest Man.
I was going to say, to come in at this standard, like when you think, obviously Eddie Hall won Britain's Strongest Man 5 times. The first couple of years that he did it, he wasn't placing anywhere at all. And it was sort of 2014, wasn't it? He came back like a changed man. He suddenly learned how to move, and then everything just clicked into place.
Yeah, we haven't seen the kind of likes of this talent at such a young age.
No, or not come into the sport at this level, because Britain has an incredible standard, as you've already said. So, like, maybe in the years gone by, and I mean like decades ago, we might have seen someone come in and challenge straight away.
It was different back then, anyway. Yeah. The whole depth of talent now,
it's so strong.
Yeah, you go back to those years, you did have weaker guys competing. Now the weak guys are bloody strong. Compare what the guys that placed lower in a competition would have done back in the day.
Yeah,
it's
it shows how much it's moved on. And...
It has. Anyway, to the results.
Yes.
We'll go through the top 5. Good performance from Terry Hollands.
Yeah, great performance from Terry.
Static strength is coming back up again. 8 reps for the deadlift with Terry, which was better than he did the year before. Solid. On the axle deadlift. Luke Richardson hitting 9 reps, as did Tom Stoltman. These two youngsters are going to battle for a number of years.
It's going to be good.
It's going to be interesting.
We can just rest on the sidelines, can't we?
I will be. And then the legend that is Mark Felix, putting in 10 repetitions. He's always so good when it comes to a deadlift reps.
Yeah, he's such a machine, isn't he?
We need to kind of send him to some scientists and just test his DNA. But the man of the moment on the deadlift was Adam Bishop. Yes. Adam, over the last few he's always been a good deadlifter.
Yeah.
But he's just getting better and better and better. For max, for reps, whatever it is, he's always performing well. He's always winning deadlifts. And he came into this contest in shape. Yeah. This was the start of his challenge. I mean, he knew the log was his weakest event.
Of course.
But the deadlift, to beat Felix on a deadlift for reps, that puts him in a good position. And Felix also...
gets in between him
That's
and
exactly
the other guys.
What I was going to say. Felix, with such a bad performance on the log, that immediately takes him out of contention of winning.
Yeah.
You kind of really can't afford to be last on an event in this standard of competition.
Yeah.
So that was a really important result for Bish there. So event number 3 was the loading medley, starting off with a duck walk, which just looked like it was there to just be annoying.
You hate duck walk. You're very biased against duck walk.
I 100% hate duck walk.
Now, we know you hate duck walk.
Duck walk should be banned from strongman.
Should be banned.
It makes the biggest, strongest men in the world just waddle along like a duck, kind of with his weight between his legs. Anyway, that's enough of my hate for the duck walk. After the duck walk, they had a sack, weighed about 140 kilos, something like that.
Yeah.
A keg, the big kind of beer kegs weighing 150 kilos. And finally a tyre. The tyre about 120, 150 kilos. I wasn't 100% sure on the weights, but it's loading's all about speed. And in this one, Liz, do you want to go through the top 5?
Okay, so in first place, no surprise, not to me at least, or to you, they don't call him the albatross for no reason, do they? Tom Stoltman in 35.96. He's just got so much reach on everything. His leg stride,
it's like a gazelle walking.
He is, and he's got these massive arms. He could just lumber around anything.
I'll tell you what was impressive. If you watch the show, how he picks up the sack.
Yeah.
Like most of us, when he's up against Luke Richardson, and Luke was moving.
Luke was really
good. He was moving really well.
It's hard
but you can see Luke is kind of human, if you like.
Yeah.
He's having to kind of get his hands under, then lift it up like we all do.
You'd expect to see.
Tom runs back and he just sort of scoops it up.
Yeah.
And he's up.
Like ice cream or something.
Yeah. The way he sort of picks up the sack and just gets straight into his stride.
Yeah.
And then that long stride.
Yeah.
He's covering more distance.
So much distance so quickly.
He's tall, he's strong, he's athletic.
He's like a galloping horse, isn't he? He is.
It's a perfect event for him.
Yeah.
And, even he had the likes of Adam really, really fast. It's just Tom almost just makes it look easy.
He does, because he didn't really look like he was going full pelt until the tyre. Yeah. It looked like he could have,
Whereas Adam, being a bit more of a normal-sized human being...
Yes, Adam is normal-sized.
You see, an amazing time, but you can see the focus.
How hard he's working for it.
He's working hard.
He did brilliantly, Adam. To come second place... losing out only to Tom is a great result.
But look how close Adam and Luke Stoltman
was.
Split seconds between the guys.
It's so tight at the top 5. So
and Terry was only a tiny bit behind Luke as well.
So don't interrupt my flow. So
sorry,
after Tom, we've got Adam Bishop, then Luke Stoltman, literally a fraction of a second behind him. Terry Hollands again, a fraction of a second behind Luke, and then Luke Richardson. So. Really
fast
tight
times.
at the top.
It was. Yeah. This was all about speed.
What would you say to people that say strongman shouldn't be about speed?
Strongman's about a variety of things. It's always been about strength, athletics.
Watch the first ones.
Strongman is misleading through its name. So when people say...
No, the world's strongest man is misleading through its name slightly.
It is. But if you look at any strongman competition throughout time, it's a mixture of events. You are a strength athlete.
Yes.
It's not about just being good. So you need to be able to throw, you need to be able to move with weights, you need to be able to lift weights, you need to be able to do everything. It's like comparing an athlete to a decathlon.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need to be the fastest man on the planet.
No.
You need to be the best at everything.
Yeah.
And that's what strongman is. It's about being exceptionally good in lots of areas.
Yeah. If you just want the statically strongest guys, you need to watch weightlifting or powerlifting.
Thanks for that, Auntie Liz.
So event number 4 was the Conan's wheel. It's approximately 300 kilos in the hands, and these guys just have to walk as far as possible. Is there a time limit on this event?
No time limit. You just basically go until you can't carry it anymore. And it doesn't take that long for that to happen. It's such a heavy weight crushing down on your chest, and then actually it kind of goes down into your diaphragm.
They're not allowed to rest it on their belt or anything like that, are they?
No, I've seen people get away with it.
Yeah.
Not in this competition, to be fair. Everyone was...
To be fair, the referee, Laurence Shahlaei, is the world record holder in this, so there's no way he doesn't know every trick in the book, and he's not watching for that kind of thing. So.
And, there's some good guys in this.
Yeah,
so,
really good guys.
Actually, the top 5 all performing really well. A couple of the guys getting close to the world record. But Darren does still hold it, so he'll be happy about that. Yeah. But in 5th place, Terry Hollands. Terry Hollands, the leaner, sort of fitter Terry.
It suits better, doesn't it?
He is performing a lot more consistently now. He when he was bigger, he used to cramp up a lot. He'd struggle in the one-day shows. The improved fitness is really showing in Terry.
Yeah.
And now, we're going back January, but over the months and months, he's getting his strength back.
Yeah.
And he's starting to show he's, a world-class athlete again.
Yeah.
Very good performance from Terry, 647 degrees. So I quite liked how they had like the revolution cam at the top.
I thought that was cool. At first I just thought it was some dodgy graphics someone had shoved in, but then I could see the flooring. I was like, oh, actually, sorry, it's real.
It was quite cool. So you could see the degrees that they were kind of covering.
Yeah, it was good.
Terry Holland's doing 647 degrees. Then you had Tom Stoltman. Tom hitting 657. Older brother Luke beating him by 2. He hit it in
Do you know what as well?
659.
Tom fell backwards at the beginning.
Yeah, so Tom
he
probably
cost himself 2 degrees easily.
When you watch how Tom picks it up, because he's so tall, and it's a really low pickup, he stumbles backwards a good 2 steps.
Oh, yeah.
So he probably ended up covering more distance than Luke.
But he was starting further back.
Yeah.
Poor Tom.
Second place, Adam Bishop. Another amazing performance from Adam. And this time, unbelievable performance from Para Dwyer.
Yeah.
Absolutely surprising everyone. I remember talking to Para at the time, thinking, he must train this all the time. He doesn't. It's I think it's one of the first time he's ever done it in a competition.
Bizarre.
Suits him well.
Yeah.
And, I think when you can win against the likes of these guys in a major competition, it really gives you that confidence boost.
Yeah, definitely.
So it was an awesome performance there from Par.
It was a great spectacle as well.
Just shows there's so many good athletes
And
right
that's
now.
why we love Strongman so much, because anything can happen.
And I love watching this event, not doing it. So with only the Atlas Stones left to go, the top 5 at this point of the competition, we had Terry Hollands on 30 points, Luke Richardson on 31.5. Then we had Luke Stoltman on 40.5 points, Tom Stoltman on 42.5 points, and then Adam Bishop 2.5 points in the lead with 45 points.
And now, it might sound okay, but that's not a very safe place to be when you've got the Stoltmans right behind you, and the last stone is the Atlas Stones, which they are notoriously excellent at.
Both of them very good lifters, and then you've got other good lifters in this contest as well. So, looking at Adam's interview with Eddie at the time, he looked calm, he looked like he was focused, knew what he needed to do. I think, as much as we all want to win every event, I think he knew what he needed to do.
Yeah.
His focus was a good solid run.
Yeah.
And stones, and I say this every single comp, but it comes down to the positions that you're in. If you're fighting for that podium, you tend to raise your level. And do you want to go through the results?
Yeah, sure. So the top 5 in the stones then. In 5th place was Mark Felix. They're always good at stones, isn't he?
Actually, Mark pulling himself right up the board, because he had that terrible start where he basically got 1 point, and he clawed himself up to a good position. He's always dangerous because he's got those events he's good at. Things like stones, things like, you throw a Hercules hold in there instead of a log lift, for instance.
Yeah.
Mark suddenly is in a different comp, but that's the nature of Strongman. It's why it's exciting, because every show is different events and the positions change all the time because of that.
Yeah. And just in front of him then was Luke Richardson. So that was a really nice solid finish from Luke, wasn't it? After Luke Richardson, so Bish came in 3rd. So he did exactly what he needed to do. Luke Stoltman took 2nd place. Luke's always been a great stone lifter. But the man of the moment, the king of the stones, was Tom Stoltman, setting a new world record on the stones with 16.01 seconds. So this was the castle stones that go from 120 to 180 kilos. It's a 5-stone run. The previous record, and I'm going to absolutely butcher his name, Mateusz Kiliaskowski, he was the previous record holder. So he set the record in Manchester 2018, and it's a fraction of a second, 16.08. And Tom broke it at 16.01.
Yeah, it's less than a tenth of a second.
Just incredible.
But it's a lighter set of stones. So I think as they get heavier, that's where Tom gets even better.
Yeah.
Because he's still so quick with
the very
but,
heavy stones. Yeah.
His stone lifting is just. I've been unfortunate to be the guy against Tom a couple of times now.
Sucks.
It really does. And he just seems to be getting better and better at them.
Yeah.
He really pushed Adam at the end there. He did what he needed to do to put the pressure on, but Adam did enough, taking that 3rd place. I mean, Luke did what he needed to do to try and help Tom out there.
Yeah, getting in between.
Adam knew exactly what he needed to do.
Yeah.
Becomes Britain's strongest man for the first time. Awesome performance. He really, really was in great shape at this contest. He peaked perfectly. Good set of events for him. knew exactly what he needed to do on the log, and then literally he was on fire for the rest of the competition. Every single event performance was unbelievable, and a very worthy Britain's Strongest Man. So very quickly, just run through the whole finishing list. So we had Ben Brunning, unfortunately, having to pull out injured. Then you had Ryan England, Mark Steele, John Pollock, Paul Smith, Mark Felix, Terry Hollands, Para Dwyer, and then the top 5, Aaron Page, Luke Richardson, Luke Stoltman, Tom Stoltman, and taking the win, the one and only Adam Bishop. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed our little after show. We enjoy doing them for you. I really hope you enjoy them. Just quickly before we go, obviously tickets are now on sale for Britain's Strongest Man 2021.
Yes.
And I believe this show could be one of the most competitive ever. We've got the top 4 from this year that were absolutely incredible. Luke Richardson is even better than he was, a year ago. You've got potentially the return of Adam Bishop. Graham Hicks.
Oh yes, of course.
So you could have the 2 latest champions going head to head. Obviously, he's got recovery issues, but originally Britain's were supposed to happen in January. Yeah. The fact that it's been pushed back now to April, it gives Graham time to get back. The likes of Terry Hollands, looking better and better. New up and coming talent coming through all the time. It could be one of the most competitive Britain's Strongest Man shows ever. And obviously the Stoltman brothers, still neither of them have taken that Britain's Strongest Man title.
They're going to be so hungry for it.
So just let everyone know where they can get tickets.
Who knows? No, I will include a ticket link in the description below, but it's Saturday the 24th of April, I believe. It's in the Sheffield Fly Arena. I'm doing this off the top of my head, and I think it starts at 5 p.m. We'll be there.
We will be there, yeah. We'll be part of the event.
Yeah.
All being well. I mean, I'm hoping it's going ahead.
Yeah, it might be that it's at limited capacity for the stadium, but I think the fact that it's been pushed into the spring is promising. And
live events have started to happen again, so we are very hopeful. We've been in talks with the organisers.
Yeah.
So it looks like things are starting to improve. So if you want some early Christmas presents for your loved ones that are big Strongman fans,
this year.
it's the Giants live shows are always awesome.
Yeah, they are.
I've got to say, I've really missed live competitions this year. Britain's goes back all the way to January, and that was the last live show that we were at.
Which is just unheard of, isn't it?
Very, very strange for us to have so little.
Sort of strung out on lack of.
I know, as much as I enjoy watching it from home, but I like seeing the stuff live. I like being the atmosphere that you guys create. That's the real. The athletes put their bodies on the line and they put the work in, but it's having people genuinely interested being there is what makes it so cool. And if you've ever been to one of the shows, it's
know what
awesome
we're talking about.
Yeah, I was, that's my channel. I'm going to say, I was absolutely, when I competed at the 2016 Europe Strongest Man in front of so many awesome fans. And you got to remember, I come from the days of Strongman being in a car park with, one man and his dog watching you.
Hey, that was me.
To see where it's at now, to have I've been lucky enough to experience a number of the international kind of the arena shows, if you like, and I think the guys that are kind of new into it, it's such an amazing experience.
Yeah,
and,
it is.
You guys make that. So if you want tickets, the link below. We will be there.
We will.
Maybe people will want a photo of you.
Oh God, I hope not. Please don't ask if you
come, annoy her, ask her for a photo. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this show. We will catch you soon. While you're here, guys, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my awesome strength content.